Introduction. The hidden code of your mind. What if I told you that your brain is running on an outdated operating system, one that constantly sabotages your success? Imagine this for a moment. Your brain is like a supercomputer. It has the potential to achieve amazing things, solve complex problems, and optimize your life in ways you never thought possible. But here's the catch. It's running on default settings. These settings were designed for a world that no longer exists. A world where we lived in constant survival mode, chasing after food, avoiding predators, and striving just to get through the day. Now, fast forward to today. You've got emails to answer, deadlines to meet, endless tasks pulling you in all directions, and yet the same old operating system is still running. It's trying to help, but it's constantly getting in the way. It's telling you to procrastinate, to second-guess your decisions, to let distractions take over, and to avoid the hard work. But what if I told you that you have the power to reprogram that operating system? What if you could adjust your brain's settings to align with your goals, boost your productivity, and start achieving success on your terms? In this audiobook, we're going to walk through 10 powerful psychological hacks. These are tricks, backed by science, that will help you rewire your brain and boost your productivity in ways you never thought possible. These hacks will help you unlock your mind's full potential, overcome procrastination, defeat distractions, and make consistent, forward progress toward your goals. But before we dive in, I want you to take a moment and reflect on one area of your life where you struggle with productivity. It could be at work, in your personal projects, or even in simple everyday tasks. Maybe it's the constant battle to get through your to-do list, or perhaps it's the nagging feeling of overwhelm every time you sit down to focus. Whatever it is, this will be your experiment. You'll apply these 10 mind hacks to this area, and I guarantee you'll see a transformation. Take a deep breath and get ready to reprogram your mind for unstoppable productivity. Let's jump in. Interactive challenge. Before we move to Chapter 1, think of one area in your life where you struggle with productivity. This will be your experiment. Keep this in mind as you go through each chapter, because the hacks we'll discuss are not just theoretical, they are practical, real-time tools that will help you achieve lasting change. Now, let's get started with Chapter 1, the 2-minute rule. Chapter 1, the 2-minute rule. The productivity jumpstart. You're staring at a messy desk, papers scattered everywhere, pens out of place, an empty coffee cup from yesterday. You keep telling yourself, I'll clean it later. I'll get to it once I finish this email or that meeting. But it never happens. The clutter builds up, and the longer you wait, the more overwhelming it becomes. But here's the twist. What if I told you that just 120 seconds could change everything? I'm not talking about some magical productivity secret or some mysterious strategy. No, this is about one of the simplest and most effective hacks you can implement right now, without any tools or complicated systems. It's the 2-minute rule, and it has the power to destroy procrastination before it even starts. Here's the deal. If a task will take less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately. Right then and there. No excuses. No putting it off until later. Now I know what you're thinking. But I don't have time for these tiny tasks. I'm too busy. I've got bigger things to focus on. Let me tell you, those little tasks are like the grains of sand in a beach that never gets built. One grain at a time, they pile up until they become a mountain. And as they accumulate, your brain starts to feel weighed down. You begin to see every little unfinished task as a roadblock. And before you know it, you're overwhelmed, unmotivated, and unable to focus on anything. But when you follow the 2-minute rule, you eliminate the build-up of these small tasks, and you clear the mental clutter before it ever takes root. Think about it. How long would it really take to put your coffee cup in the sink, reply to that quick email, or throw away a piece of trash? 2 minutes. That's all it takes to free up your mind and create momentum. And momentum is the secret sauce to productivity. Let's pause for a moment and see this in action. I want you to try this hack out right now, in real time. Don't just think about it, do it. Real-time exercise. Pause the audiobook. Look around. Find one task that you know will take less than 2 minutes to finish. It could be as simple as clearing off a corner of your desk, replying to a quick text message, or organizing that pile of papers. Take those 2 minutes and complete it right now. Once you're done, hit play. When you complete those small tasks in the moment, you build momentum. You've made a tiny victory. And as we know, small wins add up. When you start tackling those quick tasks as soon as they arise, you develop a habit. You'll begin to notice that you're getting things done faster, feeling more in control of your day, and here's the kicker: you're not letting procrastination sneak in. The beauty of the 2-minute rule is that it creates a chain reaction. Once you start completing these quick wins, your brain gets the signal that success is happening. You feel more accomplished. You start looking for the next small task to take on, and before you know it, you've made a huge dent in your to-do list without feeling overwhelmed by the bigger, more daunting tasks. This is a productivity jumpstart. It's like pressing the gas pedal before you even start driving. You're setting yourself up for a smoother ride, making progress without even realizing it. The 2-minute rule might seem simple, but its effects are profound. So, now that you've had your first taste of how easy it can be, think about how you can apply this rule to other areas of your life. Is there a task you've been procrastinating on that can be broken down into tiny, 2-minute chunks? Perhaps a project that feels too large to tackle at once? Break it down, and you'll see how manageable it becomes when you follow this rule. When you embrace this principle, procrastination won't stand a chance. You'll be on your way to higher productivity before you know it. Chapter 2. The 5-second rule. Trick your brain into action. Your alarm rings. You know you should get up, but your hand moves toward the snooze button. Just 5 more minutes, you think. It's a battle you've had with yourself 100 times, maybe 1,000. The hesitation is almost automatic, right? You know what needs to be done, but your brain kicks in with that wave of resistance. Sound familiar? It's that same hesitation we all face before taking action. Whether it's getting out of bed, starting a project, or making a tough decision, that little voice inside your head says, "Wait. Let me think about it for just a second longer." This delay, even if it's just a split second, is enough to hold you back, to create doubt, and to stop you from moving forward. But here's the thing. What if you could bypass that hesitation altogether? What if you could trick your brain into taking action instantly, without second-guessing, without overthinking? The 5-second rule is your brain's shortcut to action. It's simple. All you have to do is count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and on 1, you take action. That's it. No overthinking, no debating with yourself. The countdown is like a mental reset. It disrupts the natural delay in your brain and forces it to focus on movement instead of hesitation. Let's break it down. Your brain has a built-in defense mechanism. When you think about doing something, your mind's first reaction is often fear. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of discomfort. It's a survival instinct. The problem is, in modern life, we don't need to fear these small actions. Getting out of bed? Not a survival threat. Sending that email? Not life or death. But your brain still reacts the same way, trying to protect you from the discomfort of change. By counting down, you interrupt that instinct. The action is no longer a thought, it's a decision. When you hit 1, you override that fear and hesitation. It's like pulling the trigger to get started. Imagine this. You've been putting off an email for hours. It's just sitting there, staring at you, and you're making every excuse not to hit send. Instead of letting your brain spiral into procrastination, try the 5-second rule. Start counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as soon as you hit 1, hit send. No hesitation. You just got it done. The beauty of the 5-second rule is that it forces you to act. It's not about motivation or waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating a sense of urgency that helps your brain focus. The moment you count down, you're telling yourself, "It's time to go. I'm doing this now. Now, let's take this concept and put it to work." Interactive challenge. Pause the audiobook for a moment. Think about something you've been avoiding. It could be something small, like responding to a message, or it could be something bigger, like starting a task you've been procrastinating on. Got it? Now count backward from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take action. Do it right now. As soon as you hit 1, make sure you're doing the thing you've been putting off. Once you've completed the task, hit play. When you use the 5-second rule, you're essentially training your brain to act without giving in to fear, hesitation, or procrastination. It's like you're getting out of your own way. It doesn't matter how small or big the task is, by acting quickly, you start building momentum. And that momentum is what keeps you going. Now that you've tried it, you'll notice something. The more you use the 5-second rule, the less resistance you'll feel. It'll become automatic. Your brain will start to accept that action comes before hesitation. No more waiting, no more overthinking. Just action. When you get in the habit of using this rule, you'll notice how much faster you can make decisions, start projects, and tackle challenges without dragging your feet. The 5-second rule doesn't just trick your brain, it reprograms it for action. Now that you've experienced the power of the 5-second rule, you're ready for the next step. Overcoming those moments of self-doubt and turning them into confidence, focus, and unstoppable action. But before we dive into that, let's solidify what you've just learned and keep that momentum going. Chapter 3. The Pomodoro Technique. Work like a genius, not a machine. Imagine this. You're deep in the middle of a project. The clock is ticking, the pressure is mounting, but your brain is getting increasingly distracted. Thoughts pop up, maybe about that email you need to send, the phone call you promised to make, or the snack you promised yourself after finishing the task. The result? Your focus shatters, and suddenly you're jumping from task to task, barely making progress on anything. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. Your brain is not built to work non-stop. It's not a machine. It's human. And just like any human, your brain thrives in short bursts of energy rather than long, drawn-out efforts. You've probably experienced it yourself. When you're working on something intensely for a short period, you can reach a level of focus and productivity that feels almost genius. But once that energy starts to fade, the work becomes harder, your thoughts become muddled, and progress stalls. So, how do we tap into that genius mode without burning out? The answer lies in a technique that's as simple as it is effective, the Pomodoro Technique. But rather than explaining it to you, let's experience it together. You're going to see just how powerful working in sprints can be. Ready? Let's dive in. Real-time Pomodoro session. Here's what I want you to do right now. Pause the audiobook and grab your phone, a timer, or even an old-fashioned kitchen timer if you've got one. Got it? Great. Now, choose one task. It can be something small, like writing an email or making a quick decision on a project. Or it can be something larger, something that you've been putting off because it seems like too much to handle in one go. Once you've picked your task, set the timer for 25 minutes. That's your work sprint. When the timer starts, you're going to focus all your energy on that task. No distractions, no checking your phone, no multitasking. Just pure, undistracted focus. Ready? Press start on your timer and let's go. Pause for 25 minutes. And just like that, 25 minutes is up. How do you feel? If you've stuck with it, you may notice that you were able to push through the task with laser focus in a way that might have seemed impossible before. That's the Pomodoro Technique at work. It's about creating momentum and giving your brain a chance to rest before jumping back into action. The beauty of the Pomodoro Technique is that it prevents you from burning out. After 25 minutes of deep work, you take a short break. This gives your mind the rest it needs to recharge before you jump into the next sprint. It's like going for a quick, efficient jog. Your brain stays energized and productive without overexerting itself. And this cycle, 25 minutes of focused work, followed by a 5-minute break, creates a rhythm that feels natural. You don't get bogged down by endless hours of work. Instead, you feel energized, focused, and ready to take on the next task with fresh energy. But here's the trick. Once you've completed 4 Pomodoros, that's 4 25-minute sessions, you take a longer break, around 15 to 30 minutes. This gives your brain a chance to fully recharge. It's a mini reset, allowing you to come back to your tasks feeling like you've just had a power nap for your mind. By the way, you might notice that you're getting more done in those 25-minute sessions than you ever did in longer, unstructured work periods. That's because the Pomodoro technique uses something called focus intensity. When you know you're working in a time-limited sprint, you're less likely to procrastinate, get distracted, or let your mind wander. Your brain knows that this is the time to focus. And here's a secret. When you treat each session like a sprint, you trick your brain into thinking that the work is manageable. Tasks that once felt overwhelming, writing that long email, cleaning your inbox, organizing a big project, become simple chunks of work, broken down into manageable, bite-sized pieces. Now let's talk about how to integrate this into your daily routine. If you're at work, take those 25-minute sprints and apply them to meetings, projects, or even brainstorming sessions. If you're at home, try using the technique to tackle household chores or creative projects. The key is that those 25 minutes are for nothing else but your chosen task. Once you finish that sprint, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment, and you'll be motivated to keep going. And one last thing. You don't have to be perfect at this right away. At first, you may find yourself getting distracted or feeling like you didn't accomplish as much as you wanted. But trust me, the more you practice, the easier it will get. Over time, you'll develop the ability to hyper-focus, and tasks that once felt tedious will start to feel like exciting challenges. So, before we wrap this up, let me challenge you to start using the Pomodoro technique in your day-to-day life. Set that timer, dive into your tasks, and see how much more you can accomplish in less time. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. Now that you've had the experience of a live Pomodoro session, you're already starting to shift your mindset on how to approach productivity. And remember, you're not just working like a machine, you're working like a genius, in focused bursts that maximize your brain's natural abilities. Keep practicing and watch your productivity skyrocket. Ready for the next level. Chapter 4. The Eisenhower Matrix. How to Think Like a Billionaire. Imagine this. You wake up to your phone buzzing relentlessly, emails pouring in, social media notifications demanding attention, and your to-do list feels like it has a life of its own. Each task shouts, "I'm urgent. Deal with me now." You glance at the clock. It's already noon, and the day is slipping away. You've spent hours responding to emails, checking messages, and dealing with urgent matters. But when you look at your list, the things that really matter, your long-term goals, the projects that can change your life, haven't moved forward. Sound familiar? This is a problem most of us face every single day. It's easy to get swept away by the urgency of it all. But here's the thing. Not everything urgent is important. The biggest names in business, the wealthiest, the most successful people on the planet, they've figured out how to avoid this trap. And now, you're about to discover the tool that can help you think like them. Enter the Eisenhower Matrix. Let's break it down. Picture a simple grid. On one axis, we have urgency, tasks that need to be dealt with right now versus tasks that can be done later. On the other axis, we have importance, tasks that are critical to your long-term success versus tasks that just don't make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. Now, what you're about to learn could change everything. Because once you see how to categorize tasks, you'll start noticing how many things you do daily that aren't as urgent or important as they seem. Here's the 4-quadrant breakdown. Quadrant 1. Urgent and important. These are your top priorities. They're the crises, the deadlines, the fires you need to put out. But here's the catch. They should be the exception, not the rule. Most successful people spend their time on prevention rather than constantly reacting to crises. Quadrant 2. Not urgent, but important. This is where the magic happens. These are your long-term goals, the projects you've been putting off, the things that will actually move you closer to your vision. The problem? They don't scream for attention like urgent tasks do, so it's easy to ignore them. But here's the secret. This is where the wealthy and successful spend their time. They focus on what will matter in the future, not just today. Quadrant 3. Urgent but not important. These are the distractions, the emails that demand your attention, the meetings that don't move the needle, the interruptions that feel pressing but don't actually contribute to your goals. Successful people know how to say no to these distractions or delegate them without feeling guilty. Quadrant 4. Not urgent and not important. These are the time wasters, the things that feel like you should do, but in reality they don't matter at all. This could be endless scrolling on social media, watching TV shows that add no value, or getting stuck in the rabbit hole of irrelevant tasks. It's easy to get lost here, and it's the first place successful people cut out of their lives. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Most of us spend way too much time in Quadrant 3 and Quadrant 4 on tasks that seem urgent but aren't important, or on things that are neither urgent nor important. It's like running on a treadmill, working hard but getting nowhere. And what do the billionaires do differently? They focus on Quadrant 2, the important, long-term tasks that will actually create lasting change. Interactive challenge. Let's make this real for you. Pause the audiobook for a moment and take out a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. I want you to make a list of 3 tasks you've been working on recently. Don't think too hard, just write down whatever comes to mind. Got them? Now, look at each one and ask yourself, is this task urgent and important? If so, great, keep it there. Is this task important but not urgent? If so, this is where you want to focus your energy, your Quadrant 2. Is this task urgent but not important? If so, ask yourself, can I delegate this? Can I ignore it? Is this task neither urgent nor important? If so, it might be time to remove it from your list entirely. Take a moment to categorize each task into one of these 4 quadrants. Don't rush. The goal here is to be brutally honest with yourself about what's actually moving you forward and what's just taking up space in your day. Now, hit play again. Here's the kicker. The wealthiest, most successful people in the world, whether it's business tycoons, top-performing athletes, or visionary entrepreneurs, they spend the majority of their time in Quadrant 2, working on the long-term projects that will create real success. In fact, one of the most powerful things you can do to shift your mindset is to make a habit of asking yourself, is this task really important? Will this help me achieve my long-term vision? Let's take a quick example. Imagine you're a business owner with a growing company. You're constantly being pulled in 100 directions, responding to customer inquiries, handling team issues, tracking financials, dealing with unexpected problems. It feels urgent, and it is. But you can't just keep putting out fires. You need to focus on things that move the needle, like expanding your product line, creating strategic partnerships, or developing your leadership skills. These things won't scream at you to take action, but they're the difference between success and stagnation. Here's the lesson. You're in control of your time. If you don't want to waste another minute on distractions, you've got to prioritize the things that really matter. Stop letting urgency hijack your day and start living according to what's important for your future. Think of it like this. The best investors don't just buy and sell stocks in a panic. They make decisions based on long-term value. In the same way, you can invest your time wisely by choosing what's truly important and avoiding the traps of urgency. Now that you understand how to categorize tasks, it's time to start making better decisions with your time. The Eisenhower Matrix isn't just a tool, it's a mindset shift. When you start thinking like a billionaire, you stop reacting to life's distractions and you start making choices that move you closer to your success. So, the next time you're staring at that overflowing inbox, you'll know exactly where to focus. It's time to get smart with your time. Ready for the next tool to supercharge your productivity? Let's go. Chapter 5. The Dopamine Hack. Rewire your brain for motivation. Imagine this. You've just finished a long day of work. You're tired, your brain is foggy, and all you want to do is sit on the couch and scroll through your phone. As you unlock the screen, a flood of notifications pop up. Messages, likes, comments, endless memes, all flashing before you. You can't resist, right? But here's the thing. While that little dopamine hit feels good in the moment, it's not helping you reach your goals. In fact, your brain is getting hooked on these instant rewards. Social media likes, text messages, the constant cycle of immediate gratification. You've been training your brain to crave those quick bursts, and in the process, you've been hijacking your motivation. Now, what if I told you there was a way to take back control? A way to use that same dopamine to fuel your productivity without falling into the trap of distraction. Welcome to the dopamine hack. Here's how it works. Your brain is hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid discomfort. When you do something pleasurable, like eating a piece of chocolate, getting a notification on your phone, or achieving a goal, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical. This is why social media, video games, and other distractions are so addictive. They're constantly triggering dopamine, giving you instant gratification without any effort. But here's the catch. If you let your brain rely on these instant rewards, it becomes harder to stay motivated when you're faced with tasks that require focus, effort, and long-term commitment. Your brain gets used to the quick hits, and suddenly, deep work feels boring, even though it's the kind of work that will move you forward in life. What if you could rewire your brain to release dopamine after completing meaningful tasks that help you achieve your goals and grow in the long run? Here's the secret. You can. The key is to create a system of rewards that reinforces your productivity, not your distractions. By setting up a dopamine loop, you can train your brain to associate productive actions with pleasurable rewards, creating a feedback system that keeps you motivated. Let me explain how this works with a real-life example. Let's say you have a big project to complete, something that requires deep focus and effort. The task itself might not feel fun at first. In fact, it may seem daunting or even boring. But here's the trick. Instead of letting yourself get distracted by your phone, social media, or other instant rewards, you create your own reward system. For example, let's say you decide that you'll work on your project for 30 minutes. Once you've hit that goal, you can reward yourself with something you enjoy. Maybe a few minutes of social media scrolling, a snack, or an episode of your favorite TV show. The key is that you only get that reward after completing the task, not before. Over time, this system trains your brain to release dopamine when you finish important tasks. The more you do it, the more your brain starts to associate effort with reward, and you'll find yourself feeling more motivated to get started and keep going. Interactive challenge. Here's your chance to put this into action. Pause the audiobook for a moment and think about a task you've been putting off. It could be something small, like responding to an email, or something bigger, like working on a project or writing a report. Now, set a reward for yourself. Make it something you genuinely enjoy, a piece of chocolate, a walk outside, or 10 minutes of browsing social media. Next, promise yourself that you won't claim your reward until you've completed the task. The goal here is to create that dopamine loop. Take a moment to commit to the task, and then hit play once you've decided what your reward will be. Now that you've set your reward, let's talk about how you can supercharge this process. The trick to making this dopamine hack work long-term is consistency. The more you repeat this process, the stronger your brain's association becomes between completing tasks and receiving rewards. Soon, the act of getting things done will trigger a rush of satisfaction, and motivation will feel like second nature. But here's the real power of this hack. You don't just use dopamine to motivate yourself in the moment. You start to build momentum for the future. When you consistently reward yourself for completing tasks, your brain begins to expect those rewards. It starts to crave the feeling of accomplishment, and over time, this leads to greater intrinsic motivation. And the best part? The more you wire your brain for rewards, the less you'll rely on external distractions. The satisfaction you get from completing tasks will far outweigh the temporary pleasure of scrolling through social media or checking your notifications. In other words, you're taking control of your motivation. Here's a quick example from the life of one of the world's most successful entrepreneurs, Elon Musk. While he's known for his relentless work ethic, he also knows the power of reward. He famously sets small, achievable goals for himself and rewards himself after hitting them. He's not waiting for someone else to give him a pat on the back. He's rewarding himself for the work he's doing. This keeps him motivated and focused on the long-term vision. By using the dopamine hack, you can start building a similar system in your own life. You're not just relying on willpower anymore. You're training your brain to crave the rewards of accomplishment, turning productivity into a habit rather than a chore. So the next time you feel that urge to check your phone or procrastinate, ask yourself, what's the reward for getting this task done? And then go for it. Your brain will thank you. Now that you have your dopamine hack, it's time to start wiring your brain for success. Let's see how this fits in with the next tool, because once you've learned how to stay motivated, it's time to dive deeper into productivity. Ready for more? Let's keep going. Chapter 6. The Zeigarnik Effect. The Unfinished Task Magnet. You're sitting at your desk, working on a project, when suddenly you get an important phone call. You jot down some quick notes, but before you know it, the call is over. You turn back to your desk, but wait, where were you? What were you doing? Then it hits you. The project you were working on is still there, sitting unfinished, and now it feels like your mind won't let go of it. You can't seem to focus on anything else. Your thoughts keep returning to that project, to the half-done task that's waiting for you. But here's the thing. Your brain isn't trying to torture you. It's just doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Let's rewind a little. Imagine this. A man walks into a room, opens the door, and then stops. He's interrupted before he sees what's on the other side of the door. And that's it. Nothing more. The story remains unfinished. And then he opened the door and saw... Pause. The tension in your mind is building, isn't it? You want to know what happens next. What did he see? What was behind that door? The unresolved nature of this story is pulling at you, making it harder to focus on anything else. This is the Zeigarnik effect in action. The Zeigarnik effect is a psychological principle that says we remember unfinished tasks much better than completed ones. Your brain creates a sense of tension around unfinished business, constantly nudging you to finish what you've started. This effect is actually your brain's way of encouraging you to resolve incomplete actions so you can move forward. Now, let's bring this to your own life. How many times have you started a project, a task, or even a conversation, and then left it hanging? Maybe you've got an email you started writing but never sent, a report you've begun but haven't finished, or even a hobby you started and left untouched for months. Here's the thing. Your brain doesn't forget these unfinished tasks. Every time you come back to them, whether you're aware of it or not, your brain is pulling you back into that unfinished business, trying to resolve the tension it's created. But this tension doesn't have to be a bad thing. In fact, it can be a powerful tool for productivity if you know how to use it. Imagine your to-do list. How many tasks on that list are lingering, half done, or just started and abandoned? If you can harness that tension and use it to your advantage, you can pull yourself back into these unfinished tasks, helping you make progress and ultimately finish what you started. The Zeigarnik effect can act like a magnet, drawing you back toward your tasks when you need that little push. It's not a burden, it's a secret weapon. Let's take a quick look at how you can use this effect to boost your productivity. Interactive challenge. Pause the audiobook for a moment and think about the projects, tasks, or activities that you've started but haven't finished. Identify one of them. This could be a work task, a personal goal, or even something small, like organizing your closet or cleaning out your email inbox. Now, let's use the Zeigarnik effect to pull you back in. What is the tension around this unfinished task? How can you feel that pull in your mind? Take a moment to think about it. And then, when you're ready, let's continue. Let's dig deeper into how you can use the Zeigarnik effect to your advantage. When you start something and leave it unfinished, your brain subconsciously holds onto it. It nags at you, pushing you to finish it. So why not use that mental pull to your advantage? Instead of letting it create anxiety or frustration, let it drive you forward. Here's how it works. When you start a task, any task, just begin. Don't worry about finishing it all in one go. Instead, leave it slightly unfinished. This doesn't mean procrastinating or avoiding work, but rather giving yourself a tiny, manageable task that you can easily complete. The trick is to leave just a little bit left to do, so your brain feels the pull to finish it. For example, let's say you're working on a report. Instead of finishing the entire thing in one sitting, you decide to write the introduction and a couple of key points, then stop. Now, your brain is thinking about the report, nudging you to come back and finish it. The tension from the unfinished work creates momentum, and before you know it, you're back at your desk, finishing the rest of the report. This can be a game changer. Rather than feeling overwhelmed by a huge, unfinished project, you break it down into smaller, bite-sized tasks. The Zeigarnik effect keeps your brain engaged, making it easier for you to keep going, step by step. Let's take another example. You're writing a book. The idea of finishing the entire manuscript seems overwhelming. Instead of focusing on how much you still need to write, focus on writing a paragraph. Just a paragraph. Leave it unfinished and let your brain carry the tension to the next writing session. Each time you come back, that unfinished business will nudge you forward. The beauty of the Zeigarnik effect is that it works even when you don't consciously try to use it. But by learning how to work with it, you can transform it into a productivity powerhouse. So, as you continue with your tasks today, think about the unfinished business in your life. What projects are calling to you? Which tasks need that extra little nudge to finish them? Let the Zeigarnik effect work for you. And remember, just like that unfinished story, sometimes the tension of the unfinished task can be the very thing that drives you toward completion. You've just unlocked the power of the Zeigarnik effect, and with that power comes the ability to turn unfinished tasks into finished projects, simply by harnessing the mental tension they create. Let's keep this momentum going and move on to the next tool that will take your productivity to the next level. Ready for more? Let's dive in. Chapter 7. The 80-20 Rule. Do less, achieve more. Imagine this. You're juggling multiple projects at once. You're busy, moving from one task to the next, feeling overwhelmed and constantly behind. You've got your to-do list full, emails flooding your inbox, and you're just trying to keep up. It feels like success is slipping through your fingers, no matter how hard you work. But what if I told you that you're working too hard? That's right. You're putting in all this effort, but the truth is, most of it is wasted. Here's the secret. 80% of your results come from just 20% of your effort. This is the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. It's a simple but powerful concept. Most of your success and productivity comes from a small fraction of your tasks, actions, or inputs. The other 80%, it's not contributing nearly as much as you think. Let's break it down. Imagine you're working on a big project. You're putting in hours of effort, trying to perfect every detail. But here's the catch. Only a small portion of what you're doing is actually moving the needle. In fact, 80% of your time might be spent on tasks that barely make a difference in the grand scheme of things. Take a moment to consider how this applies to your life. How many times have you spent hours on tasks that felt important but ultimately didn't give you the results you were hoping for? This is where the 80-20 rule becomes a game changer. The key to real success isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things. Now, let's put this into action. We're not just going to talk about the 80-20 rule. You're going to experience it for yourself. Interactive challenge. Pause the audiobook for a moment. I want you to write down 10 tasks that you need to complete today or this week. These could be work-related tasks, personal goals, or anything on your to-do list. Now, here's the important part. Identify the 2 tasks on that list that will have the biggest impact. Which two tasks, if you focus your energy on them, will move you closest to achieving your goals? These are your 20%, the tasks that matter the most. Once you've identified those two tasks, narrow your focus down to them. Forget about the rest, for now. You're going to focus your energy on the activities that will bring you the greatest results. Take a few moments to think about this and write it down. When you're ready, press play to continue. Welcome back. Now that you've pinpointed your 20%, it's time to rethink how you approach your day, your week, and even your long-term goals. The truth is, the more you focus on your 20%, the more you'll achieve with less effort. Let's use an example. Let's say you're a writer with a long list of tasks: research, editing, social media promotion, reaching out to editors, and the list goes on. But here's where the 80-20 rule comes into play. If you take a closer look, you might realize that your biggest payoff comes from writing the actual content, not from managing your social media accounts or doing minor edits. What if you dedicated 80% of your time to writing and only 20% to the other tasks? You'd make far greater progress, wouldn't you? This is the beauty of the 80-20 rule. It teaches you to identify what's truly important. Instead of spreading yourself thin across everything, you learn to focus on the activities that generate the biggest returns. By doing this, you eliminate distractions and unnecessary effort. Now, I want you to think about how this principle applies beyond just work tasks. How does it show up in your personal life? Think about your relationships, your health, your hobbies. What are the few activities that bring you the most joy, fulfillment, or results? What are the actions that really move the needle forward? The 80-20 rule doesn't just apply to work. It's a universal principle that can be used in every area of life. Once you start focusing on your 20%, you'll find that you not only accomplish more, but you'll also feel less overwhelmed, because you're putting your energy where it counts the most. You might be wondering, how do I make sure I'm focusing on the right 20%? It all comes down to identifying your most impactful tasks, but this isn't a one-time exercise. As you go through your day, constantly evaluate what's truly driving you forward and what isn't. The more you practice identifying your 20%, the sharper you'll become at knowing what tasks deserve your time and attention. Remember, the 80-20 rule isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. It's about focusing on the actions that lead to the most significant outcomes and cutting out the fluff that doesn't really matter. By applying this principle, you'll not only boost your productivity, but you'll also start to feel a sense of control over your time and energy. You'll find yourself achieving more with less effort, and that's the secret to long-term success. So, what are your 20% tasks today? Go ahead and prioritize them. Take action on them right now, and watch how your results skyrocket. The 80-20 rule has the potential to transform your approach to productivity, giving you the ability to focus on what truly matters. Now that you know how to apply it, you can start doing less, yet achieving far more. Ready for the next tool in our productivity toolkit? Let's dive into the next chapter and keep building on the momentum. Chapter 8. Visualization and Affirmations. Brainwash yourself for success. Imagine this. You're about to step into an important meeting, or perhaps you're preparing to tackle a project that's been weighing heavily on your mind. You feel the slight buzz of anxiety in your chest, maybe a flutter of self-doubt creeping in. But here's the thing. You don't have to let that anxiety win. In fact, you have the power to completely shift how you feel and how you approach the situation. What if you could mentally rehearse success before it even happens? What if you could create a mental blueprint of your ideal productive day and your brain would follow it, almost like a GPS? This isn't some abstract theory. It's backed by science. Your brain can't tell the difference between something you imagine and something that's real. When you visualize success, your brain activates the same neural pathways as if you were actually living that experience. That means when you mentally rehearse taking action, overcoming obstacles, or even achieving a goal, your mind starts to believe it's possible, and soon enough, it drives you toward making it real. But there's more to it than just visualizing. Combining visualization with positive affirmations is like giving your mind a turbo boost. When you repeat affirmations, positive statements about your abilities, your success, and your goals, you're reinforcing the belief that these things are already true. Think about this for a second. When you affirm to yourself, "I am focused and productive," you're not just saying empty words. You're wiring your brain to recognize that this is who you are. The more you repeat these affirmations, the stronger that belief becomes, and soon enough, your actions begin to match that mindset. Ready to see how this works in real time? Guided visualization. Let's take a few minutes now to mentally rehearse your ideal productive day. I want you to find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. Inhale. Hold it for a moment, and exhale slowly. Allow your body to relax and your mind to become focused. Picture yourself waking up in the morning. You feel refreshed, energized, and ready to take on the day. You don't feel rushed or stressed. You're in control, and everything seems to be flowing effortlessly. See yourself getting out of bed with purpose. As you walk into your workspace, you feel clear-headed and confident. You're ready to dive into your most important tasks, and you're excited to get started. You can already feel the momentum building. Visualize your first task. Maybe it's an email, a phone call, or a project you've been putting off. Whatever it is, imagine yourself handling it with ease. You tackle it quickly, efficiently, and with a sense of calm confidence. You're in the zone, fully present and productive. Now, picture yourself moving through the rest of your day, checking off task after task. You feel accomplished and satisfied. You're on track, and there's no stress. Everything you do seems to flow effortlessly, as if you're operating at your peak potential. In this moment, you realize that you've achieved everything you set out to do. You've completed your tasks with focus, efficiency, and a sense of calm. You end your day feeling proud and content, knowing that you've made the most of every moment. Now, as you breathe in deeply, repeat to yourself, "I am focused, I am productive, and I achieve my goals with ease." Say it with conviction. Imagine the energy of these words filling your mind, your body, and your spirit. You're not just saying these words, you're becoming them. You are affirming your success, and with each affirmation, you're priming your brain for action. Take a few more deep breaths as you let this vision settle into your mind. Feel the sense of accomplishment and calmness seep into every part of you. You've just mentally rehearsed your ideal day, and now you're ready to bring it to life. Key insight. What you just experienced is the power of visualization combined with positive affirmations. When you mentally rehearse a positive action, whether it's achieving success, completing a task, or overcoming an obstacle, you're preparing your mind and body to take real action in the physical world. This mental rehearsal doesn't just boost your confidence, it aligns your brain with your goals. The more you visualize success and repeat your affirmations, the more your brain begins to believe that success is inevitable. Your subconscious mind starts working in your favor, driving you to take the right actions toward achieving your goals. And here's the best part. Visualization and affirmations are not a one-time trick. They're tools you can use daily to train your brain for success, no matter what challenges you face. So, moving forward, I want you to make visualization and affirmations a regular part of your productivity routine. When you wake up in the morning, take a few moments to mentally rehearse your day. See yourself accomplishing your tasks with ease. Affirm your ability to focus, stay motivated, and achieve your goals. This simple practice will set you up for success before the day even begins. By harnessing the power of visualization and affirmations, you're tapping into a fundamental psychological principle. Your mind responds to the images and words you feed it. The more you visualize success and affirm your capabilities, the more your brain becomes aligned with those beliefs and the more likely you are to make those beliefs a reality. Now that you've unlocked this powerful tool, let's keep going. There are even more hacks ahead that will help you reprogram your mind for unstoppable productivity. Chapter 9. Decision Fatigue. Why your brain gets tired and how to fix it. Picture this. You wake up in the morning and already the first decision of the day hits. What should you wear? What should you have for breakfast? Do you scroll through your emails first or jump straight into your work? These might seem like small choices, right? But by the end of the day, after countless little decisions, you feel mentally drained, exhausted, even though you haven't physically done much. Now, imagine having to make an important decision, something that requires deep thinking, creativity, or problem solving. Do you feel ready to tackle it, or are you running on empty? Welcome to the world of decision fatigue. Every time you make a choice, your brain uses mental energy. The more decisions you make throughout the day, the more that energy gets drained and the less effective you become. It's like your willpower tank running low, and when it's depleted, you start feeling sluggish, unmotivated, and unable to make the right choices. But here's the thing. Decision fatigue doesn't just happen with big decisions. It sneaks in through all those little, seemingly insignificant choices you make every day. Think about it. What to wear, what to eat, which email to answer first, where to sit, whether to take a break or keep working. Each of these decisions might feel minor in the moment, but together they can overwhelm your brain and leave you mentally drained. So how do we fight this? How can we conserve our mental energy for the decisions that truly matter? Key insight. The key to managing decision fatigue is simplifying your choices. The less you need to decide on, the more energy you have for important tasks. When you minimize unnecessary decisions, you free up brain power to focus on what really moves the needle. Take a step back for a moment and think about your daily routine. How many decisions do you make each day? The more you reduce the number of unnecessary decisions, the more clarity and focus you'll have for your work, your goals, and your life. Now think about the high-impact tasks you could be doing, but you're finding yourself distracted by the decision of what to have for lunch or what to wear to your Zoom meeting. What if you could remove those distractions and create systems that require fewer decisions? Let's dig deeper. One way successful people avoid decision fatigue is by creating routines or systems that automatically handle the small decisions for them. Steve Jobs, for example, famously wore the same outfit every day, jeans and a black turtleneck, so he didn't waste any mental energy deciding what to wear. The same principle applies in other areas of life. If you can automate decisions, whether it's meal planning, your work schedule, or even your daily to-do list, you free up brain power to focus on more important tasks. Now, let's dive into an exercise that will help you identify the decisions you can eliminate. Interactive challenge. Pause the audiobook. Take a moment to think about your typical day. What are the 3 most unnecessary daily decisions you make? These might be things like choosing what to eat for lunch, deciding when to check your phone, or even how to arrange your workspace. Now, once you've identified these decisions, create a system to remove them. For example, if you waste time wondering what to eat every day, plan your meals ahead of time for the entire week. If you're always checking your email at random times, create specific windows throughout the day to check and respond. Or, if choosing what to wear is draining you, streamline your wardrobe by having fewer, more versatile options. The goal here is to create routines or systems that minimize decision-making and give you more mental bandwidth for what truly matters. By simplifying your choices, you're essentially giving your brain a break and making it easier to focus on the big decisions, like tackling your biggest goals. Key takeaway. Your brain is a powerful tool, but it has a limited capacity for decision-making. The more you can reduce unnecessary choices in your daily life, the more you conserve your mental energy for the important work that drives success. Start by creating systems that minimize the decisions you need to make each day, and you'll be amazed at how much more productive and focused you can become. By cutting down on decision fatigue, you'll be able to approach each task with a fresh mind, ready to take on whatever challenges come your way. So, take control of your choices, free up your brain power, and get ready to make more impactful decisions in your life. Ready to move on? Let's dive deeper into the next chapter. Chapter 10. The Power of No. How successful people guard their time. Imagine this. You wake up early, energized and ready to take on the day. But as soon as you start checking your phone, the floodgates open. A text from a colleague, a request for help from a friend, an invitation to a meeting you don't really need to be at, and a call from a family member asking for a favor. Before you know it, your day is packed, not with the important tasks that will move you forward, but with obligations that suck your time and energy. You start the day with a plan, but instead, you're being pulled in a million directions. You're drowning in requests, overcommitted, and, by the end of the day, you realize you haven't accomplished a single thing that truly mattered. Sound familiar? Now, let's talk about a different scenario. A highly successful person, someone who is laser-focused on their goals. What's their secret? The answer is simple. They've mastered the art of saying no. Saying no isn't easy, especially when you're faced with people's requests, obligations, or opportunities that seem urgent. But what successful people know, what they understand deeply, is that saying yes to everything is the quickest path to overwhelm and burnout. If you say yes to every little thing, you're left with no time or energy for what truly matters. Key insight: the power of no lies in your ability to protect your time. Time is your most precious resource, and once it's gone, you can't get it back. By learning to say no to low-priority distractions, you create space in your life for the things that align with your goals. Think about it. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't truly serve your purpose, you're saying no to something more important. You're saying no to your long-term vision, your passion projects, your deep work, and even your well-being. Here's the truth. The most successful people don't fill their calendars with meetings and commitments just because they can. They choose their yeses carefully, and they protect their time fiercely. So how can you apply this principle in your life? It starts with getting clear on what your priorities are. When you know what truly matters, it becomes much easier to evaluate whether something is worth your time or not. For example, if your priority is to grow your business, a last-minute invitation to a social event might not align with that goal. Or, if your focus is on getting fit, responding to a series of emails during your workout time might not be the best use of your energy. But here's the kicker. Saying no doesn't make you rude or selfish. It's an act of self-preservation. When you say no to distractions, you're saying yes to what's truly important: your success, your focus, and your peace of mind. Let's think about this a bit further. Can you think of a time when you've said yes to something just to avoid disappointing someone? Or perhaps you've agreed to take on a project that you didn't really want to do simply because you didn't want to seem unavailable. It happens to all of us. But the reality is, every time you say yes out of guilt or fear, you're giving away your time and energy to something that doesn't add value to your life. Interactive challenge. Pause the audiobook. Take a moment to reflect on your life right now. Is there a request, a meeting, or an obligation you've said yes to that isn't truly aligned with your goals or values? Now, practice saying no to something small today, something that doesn't align with your priorities. It could be a quick request from a coworker, an invitation to a gathering you don't need to attend, or even a task you could delegate. Remember, saying no doesn't mean being dismissive or rude. It's about creating boundaries so that you can focus on what truly matters. The more you practice saying no in small ways, the easier it becomes to protect your time in bigger decisions. Key takeaway: mastering the power of no is essential for success. By saying no to distractions, low-priority tasks, and unnecessary commitments, you free up your time to focus on what truly matters. Your time is valuable. Guard it fiercely, and only say yes to the things that align with your long-term goals. As you move forward, keep in mind that saying no is not just a skill, it's a mindset. By protecting your time, you're investing in your success, your well-being, and your future. Ready to move on? Let's dive into the next chapter. Conclusion: your productivity mastery blueprint. As we reach the end of this journey, think about everything you've learned. The 10 powerful hacks we've explored aren't just random tips. They're the keys to unlocking a level of productivity that most people can only dream of. You've learned how to trick your brain into action, bypass procrastination, and work smarter, not harder. You've discovered how to protect your time with boundaries, how to avoid decision fatigue, and how to keep your brain motivated for the long haul. Each of these strategies is designed to help you rewire your mind and become the most productive version of yourself. Let's recap. The 2-minute rule taught you to stop procrastinating by tackling small tasks immediately. The 5-second rule helped you break through hesitation and take action before fear can stop you. The Pomodoro technique showed you how to work in focused sprints, keeping your energy high and your attention sharp. The Eisenhower matrix guided you to focus on what's truly important, not just what's urgent. The dopamine hack helped you take back control from distractions and build motivation through rewards. The Zeigarnik effect showed you how unfinished tasks can work in your favor to keep you moving forward. The 80-20 rule taught you to do less but achieve more by focusing on the few tasks that bring the biggest results. Visualization and affirmations revealed how your mind can prime your success with the power of imagination. Decision fatigue explained how simplifying choices can save you energy for the things that matter. And finally, the power of no taught you how to guard your time and focus on what's most important. Now, here's the thing. These aren't just tips you can read once and forget. They're tools that, if used consistently, can completely change the way you approach your day, your goals, and your life. But tools are only useful if you put them to work. So, I'm going to leave you with one final challenge. The kind of challenge that will make everything you've learned truly stick. 7-day productivity experiment. Pick 3 of the hacks we've discussed and commit to using them every day for a week. Just 3, so it's manageable. Maybe you'll use the 2-minute rule to tackle those small tasks right away, the Pomodoro technique to keep your focus sharp, and the power of no to protect your time. Apply these tools for 7 days and pay close attention to the changes. How does your productivity shift? What's different in how you feel at the end of each day? Are you more focused, less stressed, more energized? What happens in the next 7 days is up to you. Your brain has been upgraded. The question is, what will you do with it? As you go forward, remember that these productivity hacks aren't one-time fixes. They're lifelong strategies that, if practiced daily, will transform your ability to achieve more, to focus on what matters, and to live a life of intention. It's time to take control. It's time to get to work. And it all starts with the first step. Today. Are you ready? Let's get started. Now that you have your blueprint for productivity, the real challenge begins. Go out and put it into practice. You've got this.